Right.
breaking a sweat. He's getting nervous because he's training.
Okay, we are live. We are live, and you gonna do the intro?
Yes, I am.
Okay, do the intro, baby.
All right, all right. Welcome to You, Me, and We. My name's Luther Phillips, and this young lady next to me is Lori Phillips.
I'm Lori Phillips, and welcome again to you, man. We have guests that I just know it's gonna be hilarious. I wish they were here live. I really do, because I'm telling you, if you all have ever seen this couple, especially the wife, oh my god, like just laughs, hilarious, just hilarious. But these are the Hagoods. Now, Stacy is hometown girl. She's from, like they say, she's from around the way. She won us. And
Yeah.
so they're going to sit and they're going to talk to her. First, they're going to introduce themselves, tell you guys about them, and then we'll just kind of go from there. So, Stacy and Jay, take it away.
Well, thank you for having us. First of all, we were, very honored that you asked us to be on your show, and I appreciate that. And yes, I'm a around the way girl. Like to sing that song.
Yeah.
From Sharon, born in Farrell, which I grew up saying I was born in Sharon until I realized that the hospital I was born in was actually in Farrell. So now I can say I'm from Farrell.
She's
You
from
know,
Pearl.
but we're down here in Raleigh, North Carolina. I've been down here since '97, and
Okay.
my hubby Jay here. You want to introduce yourself, or you want me to introduce
You
you?
go right ahead, honey.
Mm-hmm. So, so my hubby Jay here is from South Carolina, um, and he's been all over the place. He is a former NFL player, so he's played here in the U.S. and Europe. So he's a
Oh,
well-traveled
okay.
individual, and I'm looking, waiting anxiously for him to take me on overseas and show me the places that he's been. Hint, hint.
Right, right. What you
Ready to
waiting for,
go
Jay?
some,
What you waiting
you
for?
know, you know.
Oh man, the time got to be right.
So, yeah, and yeah, we've been married 3 years, and I
Oh,
always had
about
to
three
look to
years.
him. I never understood couples that you asked how long they've been married, and only one of them could answer until now,
Tell you.
because I'm always like, 4 or 5. He's like, honey, 3 years. I'm like, okay,
Okay. Oh, so Jay
yeah,
knows.
yeah.
Okay, so
So,
tell us how you met Jay.
We actually met on Facebook dating. So Stacy was
Oh,
already, yeah. So Stacy was already on there. My cousin told me, she was like, I guess she must have been tired of me being by myself, and so so she told me, she said, Jay, won't you go on Facebook dating? So just so happened that same day, I get on Facebook dating, and the first picture that pops up is
get out.
me.
Mm.
so
So
I
you went with the
con
first thing.
yeah, yes, the first. I mean, the
She
first
said
pic.
you went with the first thing.
Not well. The thing was that you know what I'm saying. She caught my eye, and I was like, well, man. So I sent her inbox, and the funny thing was she was in town because she was traveling for work at the time, and she was in town, so she was trying to get me to come and meet her and have a steak and this and that. But I was nervous and scared, so I passed
Skirt.
up.
He was skirt.
I passed up
You
the opportunity, and
get
but
out.
I did,
Hmm.
I did. I passed up the opportunity because I was so nervous. I hadn't been in a relationship in years, so it was like, is she playing with me? Is she not playing with me? So
Cause you online, it's Facebook dating. Like, is she
yes,
catfishing me? Is she they gonna jump out and
yes.
kill me?
Exactly. He still worries about that though.
Yeah, I do
No,
worry
only
about the
kidding.
killing part. I worry about the killing part
No, only
sometimes.
kidding. Whatever. Help me. Blink twice.
Okay, blink twice.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I was down there because I covered the southeast, and so I was heading back to the airport, and I was actually driving when his, it was like you have a new match or something like that popped up. So I was, I don't know, dating and driving. I don't know what you want to call that,
Yeah.
but I was like, looking on there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, he is handsome, and I saw his height, and I saw, this fine chocolate, and he was smiling in his profile, which, if anyone knows anything about dating profiles, guys are usually doing really weird things. They
Yeah,
don't think
yeah.
smiling is, appealing, so they'll have their tongue hanging out or show their chest or something stupid. And he was smiling. He looked
God,
all
I've been out of
pleasant.
it. We've been out of it for a long time because I don't
Yeah.
know nothing about that.
Mhm.
And I looked and I was like, wow, I was like, he's handsome and he's tall and all that stuff. And he was messaging me and I messaged him. And then I think we ended up talking on the phone. We
Yeah.
exchanged numbers. And
Mhm.
yeah, I was heading back to the airport, stopping at this restaurant I always stop to in Greenville, South Carolina, where he was living nearby. And I was like, yeah, you should come up. It's like happy hour, it's business people in there. It's a great, neutral place to meet and everything. He was like, yeah, I'm only about 20 minutes away from there. And he's hyping it up. And then when it got down to it,
He ain't show.
chirp, chirp, chirp,
No,
chirp.
I
He was like,
changed.
mm-mm.
I changed
Oh
my mind. It
He
wasn't.
was
no.
like, no, maybe another time. I'm just gonna do blah blah blah. I was like, wow, bruh. I was like, okay. I said, that's all right. I'll be back down here in a month or so. I'll be back down and then maybe we can, we can talk in the meantime and then maybe we can meet.
Right.
So yeah, so came back down a month later and after talking and it was interesting because when we talked, we had seen each other's pictures online and we're exchanging pictures and stuff, but we didn't want to FaceTime
Mm.
until we wanted to meet each other in person for the first time.
Oh,
We didn't
okay.
want to see
Okay.
video of one another
Right.
because we wanted, like, we were so excited to meet each other, and it was just like, let's just talk and get to know each other and not do the video chat thing.
Like the Love is
Um,
Blind series.
like exactly, except seeing pictures. I mean, he probably was still worried that I was catfishing him, especially not seeing a video,
I
right?
ain't gonna lie. I was.
Like, like what's this
You was
person
worried, huh,
asking?
Jay?
Oh, I was worried. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh man, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, but I have to tell you what my profile said. So this
Uh-oh.
is like, when we would tell people Facebook dating, they're like, "What?" Like, because it was new, and they only let you have like a few little lines to describe yourself, and mine pretty much was like, I'm a Christian. I'm looking to get married again. I'm not looking to date anybody for years. And I was like, I'm not moving specifically from my town, my house. I'm not moving unless you have a mansion that you're gonna move me into. And
You
I
got
was
all
like,
that, them 2 or 3 lines.
yeah, I was like, unless your house is bigger than mine, I'm not moving. Um, and I said, and if you're looking for sex before marriage, kick rocks. So that's what my profile
I
said. I was
can't
very
even.
clear, right? I was very clear
Yeah.
because there were a lot of people that you meet, and I'm sure Jay as well, that would say that they're Christians, and it's not like I'm perfect and I've never done something I wasn't supposed to do. Um, but I was very clear that that wasn't going to happen. That was going to be part of
Right.
the part of
Right.
of it, anymore for me. And so he saw that, and he wasn't scared, and we both, when we talked, we were very adamant about our faith and the fact
Good.
that we wanted to be married again, but we were not trying to marry just anybody and whoever we met.
Right.
And that, I wasn't, for me, I said, I'm not looking for friends. So that meant if we met and I didn't like you,
Then you buy.
I'm never going to talk to you again. Like, I'm not looking for a friend. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was, that caused some conflict. People be like, really? Like, you don't even want to be friends, meet for a drink every? No. I was like, when I meet my husband, what am I going to say? This is Bob, who I met on Facebook dating, and we decided to be friends, and he's going to come to the
We're
house.
still friends.
No.
He's coming along. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, no, I'm not looking for friends. So
Oh,
that's how we met right before the pandemic. And
okay.
when was that?
that was in November.
November.
Yeah, November 22nd, I think.
Yeah, it was right before Thanksgiving because I
Yeah.
remember he was
Oh,
sending
okay.
me all kinds of. We were sending pictures of our food, right? Like, of everything was being. Not that he was cooking. I was sending pictures of the food I was cooking. He was sending pictures of the food that
No, I
was
did.
being cooked in the area that he was in.
No, I
Oh,
actually
okay.
I cooked the macaroni and cheese that year.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did?
for my mom and them.
Oh, for his mom and them, he cooked the macaroni
Um,
and cheese. And if he can cook some macaroni and cheese, y'all, he is the macaroni and cheese man for the
he can make
holidays.
mac and cheese.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
for
my
the
gosh.
holidays.
Yes, but he is the mac and cheese man and potato salad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
can, and he can cook. He can cook now. Not that he hardly ever does, but
Oh,
he can.
He
why would I cook
just
when
don't cook.
I live with a 10-star chef?
Blah blah blah. He says the same thing all the time as an excuse.
And everybody agrees with me. Why do I need to cook when your food tastes better
Because
than
I
mine?
want to eat
Oh,
sometimes, and I don't want to do the work.
And you don't want to have to cook it.
That's right.
I clean
Yeah.
up though. I clean up.
I'm like that plant. Feed me, Morris. Feed me. Feed me.
So, Stacey, I noticed you said you were married before.
Mm-hmm.
how
Yep.
long ago were you married and between, or still I say divorced?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. When did you first get married? How old were you when you got married? And because I didn't know you
Oh.
were married.
Oh yeah. This is Jay is number three.
Oh, well, I didn't know you were married twice.
Yes, he is. He is the third and the last. Somebody at church told me that I said when I met
Okay,
him, I'm
Jay,
on my look. She
you
told
done
me, she
left you
said, "You-
one.
look, he's the third and the best. And somebody at church reminded me that I had said when I met him, I said he is my third husband, just like my third BMW X5, and there will be no more.
Uh-oh.
He's the absolute best and last because I've had the same vehicle three times. Like I keep buying the same vehicle, right? But I evidently think the Lord did not keep up with the same type of man.
Right, right.
So yes, I was married originally in '98 when
Okay.
I had moved from Cleveland. I was working at Cleveland Clinic. I'm a nurse by trade. And
Hmm.
had left Sharon, went to Cleveland Clinic in '95, '97, met somebody who was in the military, moved to Jacksonville, North Carolina, which is like about an hour from Wilmington. And oh, your video went out. Are you guys still there? There you are.
Yeah.
There you are. So I had moved down there to North Carolina. I was married for 9 years, had
Hmm.
two children with him. So my two youngest daughters are with that individual. I had two children before I got married. So I had, yeah, there's a lot. I had my son, he's 35. I had my son 3 days after I graduated from high school.
Oh, okay.
So yes, so I graduated June 8th of 89, and he was born on June 11th. So
Ah.
had him, and then went to nursing school when he was 8 months old, went to Sharon Regional,
Hmm.
and then had my daughter, Andrea, who is 30, had her 9 months into my first job as a nurse. So then
Wow.
got married, had my two youngest girls, and the youngest now is 20, and Olivia's 22. Right, I can't even
Yes.
remember the ages of my
Yeah.
own children. Can't remember my
Right.
own age.
She's
And
22.
22. And then when I divorced him, um, married mistake number two.
Oh Lord.
Um,
Oh Lord.
and I'm using there's something else I usually call them, but
So, what was the time frame from the divorce to the second marriage, the
um,
first divorce?
that was about 3 years, 2 to 3
Okay.
years. Um, Next individual nightmare. I married, and that was, and I have to tell you, the first marriage was a marriage of, I won't say convenience, but it was like I had been through some abusive relationships in the past, and this individual to me was safe, right? I was looking for safety. I was looking for
Okay.
somebody who I didn't feel was going to ever like try to put their hands on me. Somebody who claimed he was a Christian. He had two children. He had two girls of his own. He was a single military person with two daughters. I had my two, it was like a little Brady Bunch thing going on, but he was not the person that he claimed to be. And
Brady
yeah, it
Bunch.
was a little mini Brady Bunch, but like I said, that Brady Bunch was, it looked like it on the inside, but on the outside looking
Yeah.
in, but on the inside, it was not what it looked like. Um, and so, he was safe to me, and it wasn't really something that I should have done because I didn't
Okay.
marry him for the right reasons. And
Right.
I'm sure God was giving me my little signals like, what are you doing? Right. And
Hmm.
then the second one was somebody I had known since I was 12,
Okay.
and reconnected with this individual, got married really quickly because we had dated in our 20s. And it was like, we should have got married when, a long time ago. Okay, let's do it after not seeing each other for 17 years. And crazy, okay?
Yeah.
Married this fool.
Oh Lord. Not a fool.
And when I tell you, look, if God did everything but come down in human form with red
And say,
flags
don't do
going,
it. Don't
don't
do it.
do it. What? No, red flags, they were everywhere. Every signal was saying, what are you doing? I mean, I had a friend who knew this individual who stopped speaking to me because
Mm.
I was marrying him. She was so upset with me. and was like, you can't bring him to my house. And I'm like, well, then you won't be seeing me, right? I was
So
like, if I
what? So
can't bring my husband,
with all of that, Stacy,
yeah.
why did you go through it? Why? I mean, what?
Because for me, I think it was like one of those, like, I'm gonna prove everybody wrong, right? And
But
I
you
can
saw the red
fix.
flags.
I saw the red flags, but I felt like I knew this individual. I knew I had changed over the years, and I assumed he had changed over the years, right? And he apparently talked a good game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I just it was I don't know why I did it. And at the end of the 6 years and finally getting him out of my house and out of my life, it was like the biggest weight lifted. I can't even tell you the relief that I had in my home.
Wow.
It was like, and he had brought so little to my life that when he was gone, it was like he had never been here.
Wow.
And there was no remnant of him here, like in my home, right? It was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, was he even here other than the destruction, the path of destruction that he caused in my life? And so after him, I was just like, all right, God, thank you for getting me out of that yeah, and the many things you've gotten me out of. And I just said, you know what? I would talk to my friends and tell people, yeah, I want to be married again. And they're like, what? You want to be married again after everything? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with marriage. I said,
Right.
the problem is who I've married. I
Yeah.
said, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with marriage. I said, that's God's design. And I said, for me as an individual, I know myself well enough to know that I'm not a good single person, that I'm not somebody who desires to be single.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I literally said to God, and you'll find Jay and I have very similar stories, that if he desired for me to be single the rest of my life, then I was going to be content with it, that it was going to be
Okay.
his will. But I also felt that God, knowing my heart and knowing the desires of my heart and knowing me better than I know myself, was
Mm-hmm.
not going to choose for me to be single the rest of my life. But I
Right.
had become
Right.
content. I literally was like, all right, well, if I'm going to be single the rest of my life, I'm just going to take care and raise my kids. And once they're gone, I'm going to travel and see the world and go take cooking classes in Italy. And I'm just going to do stuff. And I'm going to, serve in my church and do all of this stuff. And you know what I mean? And that's just going to be it. And I was content. And I decided that I was going to wait until God brought my husband to me. And even though
Mm-hmm.
I used the venue of online dating, I was very, like I said, upfront with who I was and what I was and was not going to accept. I didn't have a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of other, like, you have to do this, you have to be that, right? But it was like, you better be a Christian. And I mean, you better be a Christian. Like, if
Right.
we are doing wrong, if we're both wrong, we need to know we wrong, right? We need to
Yeah.
admit it and
You need to have
pray,
that
whatever.
relationship with God. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, bring your own relationship to the table. Like, don't,
Right.
like,
And
you
I
better
want
know
to.
him
I
for
want to see the
yourself.
fruit. Yeah. I want to see the fruit
Exactly.
of it.
And so when Jay came along, it was just like we just connected from the very first phone call. We connected with everything that we talked about. And to this day, our conversations, we talk so much to each other. I used to tell people, like, you would think when I come downstairs in the morning, for as much as we start talking to each other, we hadn't seen each other all night, that we hadn't just
Wow.
been together the day before for the way that we talk. Now, that's when we're not arguing.
Right.
Because that's a whole different picture, right? When you have your little squabbles and squibbles. But
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're, the
Whole different
normal
thing.
whatever, it's
Yeah.
like if he gets out of the bed, which he always gets out of the bed before I do typically, he sometimes gets up. He used to get up at like 4:30 in the morning. And sometimes I'd be going up the stairs when he's coming down because I'm a night owl.
Mm. Right.
And but it would be like we had just seen each other, right? And come down, it's like, hey, and he's smiling and all excited and stuff. So our stories are very similar though, and I'm gonna let Jay tell his a little bit about some of the some of his past. But yeah, so when we came together, it was very obvious that we had a lot of the same values. We had some similar things that had happened to us in the past, but we also are very we're introverts, but we
Oh.
like spending time together and with our family. So that's why we're always together, because we like each other, right? And so this is my person. So this is my
Yeah.
best friend. So we like each other. So we spend all of our time together. We
Right.
can go around other people and do stuff, but Jay knows that if I'm not feeling it, if I'm not trying to people, he knows I'm just gonna say no, and there's no persuading me, right? Like,
Okay.
no, I'm not going over there. I don't
She
want to
said, I
do
don't
that,
want
or
people.
that's it, right? And there's no like no negotiation for that, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not feeling it, and if we're somewhere together, what we found was very interesting for us when we would be somewhere, say if we were at some kind of function or at somebody's house, it only took one look from one of us to know the other person's ready to go,
Like
and
it's
it's
time to
not a
go.
problem. It's not a what? I'm not ready yet. I'm still having fun. It's like, so you ready, babe? Yep. And it's like, and we're out, right? And I
You got
love
the
that
code word,
because
Jay.
Yeah, I'm out.
I loved it because
I like
that's
peace.
right. And sometimes it'd be him that be ready to go, and or he would disappear. Anybody who knows Jay and been around him, he is like the invisible man when he wants to be. You'll see him 1 second, and the next second they look up and they're like, "What? Where did Jay go? I
Where's
was trying to
Jay?
catch him." Jay is at the back of the church, in the parking lot, in the car,
Ready to
like
go.
that quick. Usually, now he always waits for me after church, but he knows how to. He'll be like ping ping ping, and I know he's over there. Now he's there. Now he's there. He's moving to the door, you know. And people are always like, he is gone. I looked up and he was gone, and I'm like, Jay has. Don't forget, he was a football player. When he wants to, he is
Yeah,
like boom
yeah.
boom boom, and he's out the door, and he's gone. He is gone, and I'm like, dang, right? It's hilarious because he sometimes he dips on me, and I'm like, where'd he go? How did you get upstairs? When did you? Where? You know.
I'm a true introvert, trust me.
So we our natures are very similar, but we love being on the go. We love outdoors. We love to travel. So we are very spontaneous when we travel and when we go places because, well, Jay knows that
Coco.
we may run out the house to do an errand just to go pick up some carrots at the store, and he knows we may not come home for 6 hours. So he's always prepared for me to be like,
Oh,
oh, let's go so and so, let's do that. Why don't we do
oh,
blah
okay.
blah blah
Okay.
blah, right? And so that happens to him quite a bit. So he, I got
90% of the time.
yeah,
90% of the time.
yeah.
None.
90%. Well, 99.9% of the time it
So,
happens all the
so
time.
when you go out, you already know. Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah, I
ain't
already
gonna
know.
be
I
no
have a
quick
little
trip.
bag packed and everything. I bring me a banana. I fill my water bottles up and I be in the car.
His blood sugar gonna get low.
Yeah, I gotta have a snack. I gotta have a snack when we go to like Macy's or somewhere. She pull up, I'm like, oh God, I just take my whole little bag and walk around.
Yep,
Oh,
yep. But
That's
yeah, but you
crazy.
tell your story.
okay. Well, I have one daughter. I had her when I was 25. Yeah, and me and her mom never got married. Her mom was crazy. And but things didn't work out. And then I've only been married one time before, and I got married at 34 years old. Yeah, 34, 35. And it was a very abusive relationship from her. So
Mm.
and a lot of men, are too embarrassed to tell their story about it. But and I was too for a while until I explained it to her, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you was married to a narcissist." And and even when we got together, she was trying to break us up at one point.
Oh, I know
So
Mm-hmm.
Stacy wasn't going for that.
no,
Yep.
I know, but yeah, but in between that time, we had separated. I think in 2015, yeah, 16, and from that point, for me, I had stayed single for 3 years. So I stayed single and celibate for 3 years because I was like, Lord, if it's meant for me to get married again, you'll bring this woman into my
Mm.
life. She'll have the same values I have. She'll be a Christian, a loving person, caring, and well, we got to work on that part.
Whatever.
Gotta work on that part. And but I just wasn't gonna settle for the next thing that was coming. You know what I'm saying? So even I tried to date, but I was like, I just need to sit down somewhere and get myself together.
Sat down somewhere.
So I sat down and I waited on Stacy. And what's crazy is once we met, they went to California during Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And then in January is when we first met. It was January the 28th, 20, yeah, 28th,
Oh,
yeah.
that is right. We didn't when I came back down. That I thought.
No,
See,
it
I
was
have my
no, no, no,
story
no.
wrong.
It was January the 12th when we
So it
met.
was a couple months.
Yeah, it was two
Yeah,
months.
before we saw each other
Yeah, it was
again.
2 months before we saw a month and a half before we saw one
Okay.
another.
Yeah.
And once she came down, then I flew up, and then I was driving back and forth. That's when the pandemic hit. So she was like, either you're gonna be in our bubble or I'll see you after the pandemic is over. So I let my job go, everything. I said, man, I'm coming up there. I'm not losing this woman. So I came all the way up here and stayed, and you know what I'm saying? And from there, it's history. A year later, we were married.
Yep.
Oh
Wow.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're a pandemic romance. That's what I tell people.
Oh,
So
okay, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
And we've done a lot. Even during the pandemic, we both like to travel. We both like seeing things. We both like adventures with one another. So it was a match made in heaven. And plus both of us, we're silly. So and I just laugh a lot anyways. All I do is laugh.
And then he participates, which I like. He'll
Yeah.
participate. He'll
Yeah,
say he's
yeah.
not going to do something, and I'm like, "You're going to do it. You're going to put this on your head, you know."
Mhm.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, we did like a lot of exercising and stuff during the pandemic. We found things to do to get out of the house. I mean, it was
mhm.
like yard work and renovating around the house, and making a new gym upstairs, and bike riding.
Mhm.
And he was always a trooper, which I
Yeah,
loved.
yeah,
And Jay has lost what 100 pounds in
Yeah.
the past
yeah.
year. Like it's a very huge transition. When we married, when we met, you were 100 and
No, I was 240.
220 or something.
Yeah, 220.
So he was kind of thin when we met, right? And then
She blew
I
me up, and I
She
ended
had to,
up being
she had to
about
bump you up
330.
like you get ready to go
That's
back to
that
playing
that
ball.
that's
I
what
know,
love will
it
do
right?
for
it
you.
was like 330, and I
Yeah.
and I didn't see it. Like I couldn't tell because I loved him, right? I
I
couldn't
felt
tell.
it. I felt it though.
But I'd be making him these gigantic plates. I'm like, former football player, he's 6'6", here's this, let me feed him. And then and he would eat it out of politeness, right? And then eventually he said, honey, you don't have to put so much on my plate. And I was
Right,
like,
right.
really? He was like, yeah. I said, well, how much would you want me to put on there? And when he scooped half of it off of there, because he was like, I don't really eat like that. I was like, really? And then I was like, so you want a toddler plate
Yeah,
is what you want.
basically. Basically.
But
So he was just
so
eating it out of the love,
The
because
out
love.
of like
yeah, yeah.
respect, right? And
Go,
so, and it wasn't that, and it
go.
was good now. But it was, and then eventually we got on this health kick where we were like eating, way healthier. And Jay is a walker. This man would walk 7 miles, 8 miles in a day, and I do too
Mm,
sometimes. But he's a adamant walker. And so once I changed up our diet, he started losing weight, and then just people always asking him, what did you do, because people who see him think that he was on some kind of medication. He has no health problem, so it's like he wasn't on any type of medication. So um
I didn't use Ozempic if everybody wanted to
yeah,
know.
yeah. Which
you
look,
say no Ozempic.
No,
and people joke about that, and I'm like, and the thing is, I'm the one who's on Ozempic because I have diabetes. So
Mm,
it's funny because people are always like, Stacey, have you lost some weight? I'm like, yep. And they're like, you meant to? I'm like, nope, not this much. Like, I didn't need to lose this much weight. Like, that's not why I got on Ozempic, but it does make you lose weight. Trust
right,
me.
right.
But Jay did it just naturally through diet, through exercise, through, the things that he's known to do as a former athlete. And so people see him now, even from just last year. If they haven't seen him in 6 months, they're like, what did you do? Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And so a lot of it was diet, but he's always been a bigger like fruit and vegetable eater. So he's one that can just, he'll eat big salads and stuff like that. And then because he's so active, he burns it. Right.
Mm.
And whereas we women, maybe I had
Sure,
high
girl,
metabolism at some point in my
we
life. I
had
no
it.
longer,
Yeah,
right? Our
yeah. I
metabolism
haven't.
dies down. But yeah, so he lost all that weight and everything, which is, a wonderful thing. And so, together we just, I think we just complement each other, right? And we
Yeah,
try to, we just, you got to be married to somebody who supports you and pushes you forward and always wants you to be better, do better, excel, grow. Because both of us
right.
were married to people who were not those people. We were married to people who were intimidated by us or threatened by us in some way. Um, who didn't want, the people who were in the background either conniving, conspiring, cheating, beating, whatever
Hmm.
they were doing, right? Those people were not trying to see Jay. like
Yeah.
his ex was not trying to support Jay. She was trying to destroy Jay,
Yeah.
right? In so many ways while she
Wow.
was married to him and afterward. And like we said, here it is 4 years later, and this woman still claims that my husband is riding by her house in some car he hasn't had in 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm.
like, down in
So
another
they're still
state.
lingering. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
He's looking for me. He's been asking about me. I'm like, girl, bye. Like, number one, it ain't all about looks, but look at you, look at me.
right.
Number one.
Yeah, it is with her.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I don't want to be insulting, but it's truth is truth. But at the end of the day, when you know you're with somebody who that's your person, you love you when you have the kind of love and relationship that we have, that's just ridiculousness, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just ridiculousness because we know what we've been through, and neither one of us would do that to one another.
Right.
And we're just
Right.
not those people, right? Um, but I think because of the things, like I said, because that what both of us have been through in the past, when we found each other, it was like we didn't have to sit there and go, oh, we didn't have to run down a list of what we did and did not want because we already had lived it. And
Excuse our
we
dog.
just knew coming together what we wanted, what we didn't want, and we would just talk about everything. We talked about everything. And people, I'll meet people sometimes that maybe he went to school with, went to college with, and they'll be like, oh man, the stories, start telling those old college stories. Oh, I'm not gonna say that around your wife. And he's like, go on. She probably heard it anyway. I'm like, I've heard it all. Like we talk about
Yeah.
everything. There's
And that's
there's
so good.
there's never been a topic that we feel like we can't discuss.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Jay, you might as well go ahead and take her to Europe, man.
Oh man, I am, man. She'll have a good time. Yeah, as soon as the season over, we thinking about going over there doing a cruise. So that's
Oh,
Okay,
that'd be
that's
good.
good.
yeah, it's I always tell it's a little different over there. I tell all the time they free morally and then but politically their hands are tied. But
Yeah.
over there, they, as moral people, they are free. So I tell all the time that you get a taste of that true freedom, unlike we feel here over there. Then I say you may want to move over
Yeah.
there. So
Pack
Yeah.
my bag.
yeah, but yeah, the good thing about it is that I know that we had talked about our biggest thing because we both had been cheated on. And we
Hmm.
really, that's one of the things where, because we're not the cheating type. Like, we're not going to
Yeah.
hold
Right.
somebody on the phone or, what I'm saying? I'm not going to be out and about looking at women or trying to, I mean, people look at me because I look good and I know it, you know what I'm saying?
Likewise.
You know what I mean? I look good.
Okay. We know y'all want to look. It's all
Right.
right. Go on and look.
But you know what I'm
No,
saying? You can look at the eye candy, but you just can't touch
You
that's
it.
can't
right.
touch it.
But
You can't touch it.
but
Exactly.
yeah,
That's
but that was the biggest thing
See, know
for
you
both of us
good.
because the cheating thing to me is so immoral and it goes against everything that God, what I'm saying, has written inside, what I'm saying, our playbook of life. Um
right.
but for the most part, not even for the most part, all the parts, we're always together. Like even
Hmm.
for my job, I travel on the weekends, and she has to work on Friday, so she'll travel to me with games, and I'll we'll drive on Friday, and she's still working using the phone,
Because I
driving,
work
and
remotely, so
Right.
yeah.
that's
Right.
why we can be,
Yeah.
You can do
together.
that.
And then
Yeah.
she'll sometimes she comes to the game because she don't like football. So sometimes she'll come to the game and sometimes she won't. So because I'm a replay official, a college replay official. So
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
yeah, and so when we go and stuff, she'll I get her in the booth and all that stuff, but she's watching movies and all that
I'm
stuff.
sitting there watching Netflix or something, like on my iPad. Like, it's funny
She's
because
like, forget the game.
yeah,
Yeah, she
because
don't even watch the game.
yeah, I watch it like if it's on TV. The craziest thing is that football on TV to me is more exciting than an actual game because they're
Mm.
showing all the direct action, right?
Right. Right.
Than the game. And plus, we go and he's not connected to a certain school, so we're all over the place. It's not like it's a school that I care about, right? It's not like I'm
Okay.
sitting up there with
Okay.
watching the
Like this.
Steelers
Right.
or something. It's like, who are
Right.
these people and why do I
Right.
care? So, you know it's sometimes I won't even go to the game and I just go shopping or hang out somewhere,
Mm.
go do something else in the town that we're in. But I go because I'm there to support him. That's why I
Right.
go, because I
Right.
like being with my hubby and I
Right.
know he likes me being there. So it's never a
Hmm.
complaint. It's never like, I just be like, I'm not going. And he doesn't have an attitude with me if I decide not to go. Um, and he's happy if I do go, right? And
Yeah.
so and then he's not sitting around watching football all the time at home like people think he is. They think that, hey man, you watch that game. I'm like, he watches film all the time for work. He played. That's not he is not that's like I'm not sitting there watching Nerf shows all day long.
Right.
It's like
Right.
right? Like I mean, it's like I know he doesn't watch football like that. But if he does, then I'll just go out in the man cave with him and sit next to him with my iPad and watch something on
Yeah.
my iPad
And
or
then
Watch
change the
something else.
channel. And then
exactly.
change the channel.
And then eventually I'll just reach over and grab the remote and snatch and change it.
Oh,
But
Because I
yeah.
actually saw Jay post something that you are in the man cave. First, you was trying to show him how to use the speed bag.
Yeah, because he needs to tighten up a little bit. So I had to, I had to show him just a few
I should
things.
have showed
And
Luther because I did see your speed bag technique.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on now.
What was it?
That one time I hit it twice in a row. That one time I went boom. And he was like, okay. I said I was doing the Mike Tyson
Yeah,
or
you
something.
doing the
Yeah, you
Mike
I
said
was
the
trying to
Mike
get that
Tyson. Yeah,
like it was in.
it.
I could hear it in my head. I could
Yeah,
feel
but
the
it wasn't
rhythm.
working. It wasn't. For
Yeah,
those
it
of
just
us who
wasn't.
saw
It
it,
wasn't translating into this.
no. For those of us who saw it, it didn't work. But I know you
Oh
Right.
tried.
man, she a one hitter quitter. So you know what I'm saying. She get she get that one shot on you. Bow.
Yeah, that's all it takes though is one. That was
That's
what the
all it
thing
takes is
was
one.
that I was trying to teach him that you don't have to keep doing all that. It's just one good hit and you knock a sucker out. But
That's it. That's it. That's all you need.
Oh
that's it.
man.
So, Stace, I see that you and Jay, like you said, y'all do a lot of stuff together. Even within those 3 years, and I could say 3 short years, because, I mean, it's 3 years, but it's probably seemed long. Tuesday, it'll be 30 years for us.
Oh
Oh wow,
wow.
Okay,
congratulations.
30
Yes.
years. Thank you.
Yeah.
But in
Happy
those
Thank
three
almost.
God.
years, what would be your most memorable moment with Jay? Just in those 3 years.
My most memorable moment with him is it just we always go back to our honeymoon in
I was going to
Belize.
say the honeymoon.
I mean, I can't even pick a single moment because just like when we were on that, it was a 4 days on a private island and I think 4 days or 5 nights or something at some
Oh, yeah.
treetop
Oh, I know.
resort.
I followed you. I was watching the
Yeah,
video.
right. So,
Uh,
so it
I
was
think I
that
watched
island.
all of them.
oh
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And I think that was the most memorable thing was just getting there, right? The fact that we had planned so many different things that got canceled by the pandemic, and then to end
Mm,
up going to Belize and us being there, and really, it was just being with him, being there, us enjoying one another like we did, and the freedom, right?
yeah.
And the fact that we had both waited, like he said, he had been celibate for 3 years. I had been celibate for like a year and a half, and it was like. What she always like he was longer than me, why, he was, he thinks he was better than me or
Brother.
something. But
All right, brother. That's all right.
but
I was about to say, come on, Stacey. Now you could have done longer than a year and a half. We gonna do three.
that's why I told God
Right on, brother.
that I wasn't a good single person. Okay.
Oh,
So,
Freeze it up. Okay.
but it just didn't take as long for me to meet him. So that was good.
That was
But
it. Yeah.
I just
Took him
felt
a little
like
bit longer.
that's right. And I just felt like being there with him after all that we had been through and all we had waited for and just the way that we were able to connect, enjoy one another, the freedom, the spontaneity that we had
Right.
enjoying everything together and nobody complaining. Like he couldn't swim at that point, but he still went out on a boat in the middle of the ocean and watched me jump into a 3,000 foot deep
Wow.
hole. And then still tried to snorkel and still let me take him out on a kayak a little ways away from the beach, and then
Well,
eventually
that's
learned how
sweet.
to swim, right? And
Yeah.
so he's game for things. And so, and that's what that's Andrea.
yeah.
Hi,
That's
Andrea.
yeah, that's Dre. I don't know where she's creeping off to.
She sure
Samuel.
did.
Creeper.
She sure did creep on through the back.
He's creeping, little creeper. But yeah, that's my most memorable experience. I don't know if there's like a single moment other than just saying I do, right, and finally getting
Yeah.
to that point of, especially when we had a person in the background who was trying to do everything they could to keep us from, just, with the accusations and the lies and the
It's
harassment and all that,
crazy.
to finally get to that point was just like, woo.
Yeah. And just let
Yeah.
it all go and just be at peace with each other.
Yeah. Getting them across the finish line. I guess that's the best
Yeah,
moment.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's good. Well, what about you, Jay?
I think the most memorable part was when we got married because I got a chance to see my wife walk down the aisle, and
Oh,
I'm not a crier, so seeing her walk around, she looked like a beautiful princess, and it was almost like was introducing, my future, my end as well. So
Mm.
to my friends and family. So her walking down the aisle and having her brother, because her father has passed, but
yeah.
having her brother be able to come down and walk her down the aisle, and seeing her glow and happiness, I think that was the most memorable thing that I could have asked for, because it wasn't even the first dance. It was seeing her walk basically by herself, because it seemed like the room, well, outside went black and it was just her coming down the aisle. So
Oh, mm. Okay, Jay. That's one for Jay.
Snap, snap,
Right.
snap, snap.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful though. That's so I really think you all should get your own show. I really. I used to tell Stacy that all the time when I was saying like y'all hilarious. Like
Oh,
get a comedy show or something.
yeah.
But you're open with your relationship with Jay. You let everybody in and see. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And even for Jay to
Hmm.
Jay just be smiling. He just go right along with it.
Hmm. Right.
that's
It's
all
like,
I can
oh,
do is smile and laugh. I mean,
it's like, what's she gonna have Jay do now? He's like, I
oh
don't
man.
know,
Exactly.
but I'm going with it.
Right. I love that about him, because
Yeah.
and that's why I hated that my when my Facebook page got hacked like a year ago, and
Mm,
um I lost all my connections. I lost even the connection to my dad's Facebook page, which was like the most I hated. Like, that's the thing that bothered me the most, right? Is
yeah.
that everything I had said on my father's page was gone, and they couldn't recover my account. Somebody like hacked it to the point where by the time I woke up and saw all the emails, is this you? Is this you? And secure your account now, it was unrecoverable. It was gone. And so because of that, a lot of the videos, those memories and stuff that we did, the live things we did are gone. And so I tell Jay, like, hey, if you see a memory come across your page that that I don't have anymore, make sure you send it to me, right?
Yeah.
And so, I hated that. But a lot of that fun stuff we did was, I know we've done some stuff on this page now, but a lot of that stuff was, back then when I just set up the camera and
I still have
start
that stuff.
talking to him. I know you, yeah, you
Yeah.
still have. And some of the stuff I have, I just, I'm not looking through 35,000 pictures and videos that are on my iPhone. Actually, there's
Yeah.
54,000, but
Oh wow.
over the years, it's ridiculous, the pictures and stuff. But so yeah, I love doing it. And what's funny is that sometimes we'll do something or say something that is hilarious, and I say, okay, now do it again, and I'll slap the camera down, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna do that again, and I make him like recreate it, which is hilarious because I'm like, that's not
Uh-huh.
what you said. Now say that. What did you say? You know,
She
and
just
I,
she
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
picking me. She just picking me because I'm so country. So
oh yeah, that too.
Yeah, she talks
that's
about
what
the
I'm.
country.
Yeah,
That too.
that's what it is. So
Yeah, that too. I do have to correct his verbiage
I'm
sometimes.
sorry I don't speak the Queen's English.
Yes, the
Sorry.
King's English, as my father used to say, the King's
What is
English.
Well,
it?
you
The
say
King's English.
Queens instead of
Yes,
Queen.
yes. And since I've been down here in the South all this time, it's my when I go home, my friends are like, you sound so country. And I'm like, I've been down here like almost 30 years, so
Right. Right.
She don't
unfortunately,
sound country. She sound like she from
I don't
Pennsylvania.
say pop anymore.
She say soda.
Oh, you
Can you
soda.
believe that?
Okay.
Like, if you
You're
say
a
pop
soda
down here, they're
now.
like, "What?" Like,
Mm-mm.
I,
I'm
w-
thinking Pop Goes the Weasel. Right?
yeah, yeah. Like, you want to pop? Like, it doesn't even sound right to me anymore. But I know when I go home, I say pop.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
weird, and it's just different things that we say down here or whatever. So, I don't know.
It
It
all
is
comes
what it
back to
is.
you when you cross that Mason Dixon.
Yes, It does.
Yeah, but we're up there a lot though. We're up there in Sharon
Yeah,
a
I see
lot.
that.
Yeah, and the craziest thing is, I used to train in Sharon, Pennsylvania in the
Oh
off
yeah.
season.
Get
Oh,
So
out.
really?
yeah,
Hmm.
so a lot of people, because I we would go over. I guess it was Farrell and worked out or whatever.
Hermitage.
Yeah.
Hermitage, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And but we
What
would
is
eat
wrong with
inside
her?
Sharon, so we used to eat at the place called the Wave when it was open up. And so
Right.
Oh,
I
when we
remember the
met
wave.
online, I asked her, I was like, well, where you from? She was like, oh, I'm from Sharon, Pennsylvania. I said, quit lying. I said, nah, I ain't see no black people in Sharon when we was there. I said, ain't no way. I ain't no way you from Sharon, Pennsylvania. And then she told me her father, who we used to see all the time because he was the only black cop in that town.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
yeah.
we
Yeah.
used to see him all the time, because he'd always tip his hat to us and keep on going. But it was just ironic that she was from Sharon. And I told her, I said, you have no idea back in the day how many NFL players was there working out, training, getting ready for the next season.
See, I could have snagged
Hmm.
somebody years ago, y'all. That's what I was
You
thinking.
could
I
have,
was like,
yeah, you
bruh,
could have been
I
had
had so much opportunity back in the day, didn't even know. No, they kidding.
Uh-uh.
Right,
you,
right in
you
your
know
own
back then y'all
backyard.
girls y'all like the streets back then. Y'all like them street boys
This,
back then.
the street.
The streets.
But
the
I wasn't
street.
in Sharon when he was there. I
Yeah.
was in
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
So I was only coming back and forth
Oh,
visiting. So I
okay.
was like, because I was like, if I was living in town, you know how it is, and you know that you notice people, especially back in the day. We knew when somebody wasn't from there, right? We see people and be like, oh wow, who's that? Where are they from? And I'm sure I would have seen him and would have been like, what the who are all like these gigantic dudes walking down the street, right? But they were all incognito, apparently.
No, we hung out with the locals.
Mm.
They just didn't
Who
recognize
said
us.
they
They
hung
just
out with
thought
the
we were just
locals?
hanging out. They probably thought we was from Youngstown or something.
Oh wow. So yeah,
we
it was interesting
we was
and
going to the
yeah.
Elks Club.
Okay, so he know. He know going to the Elks.
We're going to the Elks now.
Yeah. So that's something. When I found that out, I was just like, "What?
Yeah.
Like you know my town?" And
That's how I knew. That's
yeah,
how I knew that God had put us together. Cause you're not gonna tell me I was in a town 4 years out of my 6 year career in the off season before I went over to Europe, and you know, almost 30 years later, I find a young lady that's actually from that town, and I know exactly where everything is in the town.
mm-hmm.
Right,
And
right.
I just felt like, you know what I'm saying? I till this day know God put us together. This
That's so
wasn't
good.
a this wasn't a infatuation. This isn't about how good I look, because I look good.
Whatever.
But
There
but
you
you know
go
what I'm
He
again.
said,
saying?
he said, he said,
You
no
know what I'm
doubt. He said,
saying?
no doubt about it.
But I think this is what we have is a holy marriage. That's the
Right.
Yeah.
for any marriage, it has to be surrounded by God's, you know what I'm saying, the covenant of
Yep.
God. So
Oh,
and I
definitely.
Grace.
yes, and I'm a true firm believer that God doesn't make mistakes, so
Mm-mm.
and so even when it gets tough and rough, we still fight through everything. Now we won't, we might Stacy might be yelling and fussing, and I might say something smart and stuff like that, but I still give her a kiss and a hug, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't ever
Yeah.
want to be without my wife. I mean, I always tell her, I've never been in love. That's exactly what I tell her all the time. She's my first love.
Hmm.
Because I know people that I broke up with, and even my child's mother, my first marriage. I think my first marriage, like she said, was I thought it was safe, and it
Yeah.
turned out to be Mike Tyson against.
Oh Lord.
Mm. Wow.
But
So
yeah.
you weren't in love when you married her, Jay?
I was not, and I'm just being totally, transparent. I wasn't. I think I had got to a point in my life because my daughter had got basically snatched away from me. Her mom wouldn't let me see her,
Hmm.
and then the courts were, because even she would never show up to court for child support. In the state of South Carolina, they lived in Virginia, so and I had moved to South Carolina. And so, in order to get child support, she had to come to South Carolina. So, every time she petitioned in the state of South Carolina, you have to give me every other weekend if you get child support. And
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
she would not do it because I was like, shoot, yeah, come down here and get this child support so I can see my child.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
so for 12 years, I didn't get a chance to see my daughter. And then
Oh.
once we got together, Stacy made it a point for us to reconnect because my daughter's about to graduate from college, and Stacy made the point to say,
Oh,
she's
that's
grown
nice.
now. You need to talk to her. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were able to go to her college
yeah.
graduation party
Mm-hmm.
and everything, and her mom sent invites to us and everything, and I met her, and she, she's people grow and people change, right? And her mom, was able to talk to him and acknowledge some, mistakes she made in the past and everything, and so that was, that's a beautiful thing because I'm like, look, at the end of the day, it's about the child, and
Yeah.
if I've never been the kind of person that because a relationship ends, you can't see your child like that. I was
No.
never that
Mm-mm.
woman. And I'm always about reconnecting people because if that person hasn't done something to hurt that child, there's zero reason for you to keep
Right.
a
Kids don't
child
have
away
nothing to
from their
do.
parent.
Right. They don't have
I
nothing
don't
to do
care
with
if they're
it.
paying child support, not paying child support. They have a right to know who their parent is if that person wants to be involved, right?
Yeah.
And so many people weaponize that and weaponize the system to try to hurt somebody, and really they're just hurting that child, and they're using that child as a weapon. And so they were able to reconnect at that time, and they still have some things to work on with the relationship.
Oh,
But I mean, there was a
sure.
time that you had her when you were playing with the Saints, that she
Yeah.
was with you
Mm-hmm.
and was staying with him, you know so
But
she
what the
had,
good thing
yeah,
is that I gained three beautiful daughters. So,
yeah,
that, with
Mm.
Stacy. So, I get it. I'm the type of, I guess you could say, stepfather. Like, we've all been out one individually just to get to know them. You know what I'm saying? I gave it time, and a lot of people don't understand. Like, you can't come in as a step parent and be like, I'm your step parent. You're going to listen to what I
Right,
say,
right.
I'm your daddy now.
Yeah.
I'm not that type of person anyway. So I'm a laid back person. So I gave them time to get to know me all together, and then individually, I took them to dinner to sit down. Me and Lydia
Oh,
went,
that's
but
nice.
yeah. So me and Lydia, we were already close. So the youngest one, we were thick as thieves. So
Still are.
cause I taught her how to drive. I taught her how to drive.
Lies
Yeah,
and
I taught her.
fabrications.
Look, she took me
Lies
everywhere.
and
I taught her how to
fabrications.
drive. But with
That's nice.
Andrea and Olivia, they were a little bit older because Olivia was going out. She was leaving because she graduated during the pandemic. So she was on her way out of the house. So she had gone to college, by I guess it was July, August. And Andrea, she wasn't living here at the time. So, and I think us having the relationship that we have is kind of built because even, being transparent, I have kind of form of CTE. So whenever it comes out because of the concussions, they
Mm.
always take care of me. So the girls always kind of
Oh,
like,
that's good.
so that's one of the biggest things that I love about them, especially Lydia, because she understands because she was
Oh,
here and she got a chance to see it and she
Kind
went
of
through it.
progress, yeah.
Yeah, so she kind of went through it, so she knows how to say, "Hey, Mr. J, you having a rough day today." You know what I'm saying? So,
oh,
and I really appreciate that about the girls. You know what I'm saying? They've never treated me any differently. They've never, even if we've had an argument, they still say, "Hey, Mr. J, give me a hug," stuff
Or
like that.
pops, as Lydia
Yeah,
calls you.
yeah, pops, and
oh.
so I think even only having one child, because I always tell Stacey I want to have a whole basketball team. You know what I'm saying? I want to have about 12 kids.
I'm too old now.
So,
Yeah.
but that,
Hmm.
that didn't happen. God had other plans, and no
Yeah.
lie, just I really appreciate the girls and then her family up in Sharon. They're wonderful, her brothers and even her sister, she lives in Winston. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I have a close relationship with her side of the family, which
They
what I'm
love
saying.
him.
So that's it's one of those things to where
That's good.
I just think that this is just a blessing for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she
Yeah.
come from a good family. Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Thank
come
you.
from a really
Thank
good
you.
family.
I
Thank
ain't
you.
gonna say all that now, cause
Whatever. Whatever. And he's seen our
Oh,
crazy.
yeah,
But
all them
mhm.
crazy now. Everybody up there in that area crazy.
whatever.
Farrell, Hermitage, Sharon, everybody black up there
Hey,
crazy. Then you get the
look, don't start now,
then it
Wow.
won't
gets
be none.
look, then you get over to Youngstown. I'm like, man, where you
Oh no,
got
yeah,
me
no,
at?
that's a whole different
I
that's
lived
a
in
whole different
Youngstown for
state.
4 years, and so
Did you?
I tell my stories. And my parents were married for 53 years, but they were separated for 4. And a lot of people
Hmm.
don't remember that when me and the two Marlon, Mark, the 3 youngest siblings, moved with my mom to Youngstown for 4 years, and then they got back together, and we all moved back, but to Sharon. But I told him, I said I was living in Youngstown. It was the murder capital per capita of the United States.
Per
Okay.
capita.
So
Lucky
that's why I
love.
got so much thug in me. That's why I have to be
Oh
telling him.
man.
I have to
Oh
be
man.
telling him, don't mess with me.
Don't start none, won't be
You know what I'm
none,
saying?
Jay.
Exactly.
And
Like
I'm from the woods, so we don't get down like that. We don't
He
get
from
down
the
like that
he
in the
from the
woods.
woods and she
yeah.
from the hood.
Now
Yeah,
look,
I
you
ain't
don't
from
want to
the
mess you don't want to
I ain't
mess
from
with
the hood. I'm from the woods.
yeah, but that's worse. That means you're gonna come up missing in the woods. So
Yeah,
you
we got
don't
hogs out there. Hogs like to eat people.
Jay, Jay Country Boy. Them hogs. They'll get
Yes,
you, man.
ma'am.
What's the whole like these people?
Yeah,
Mhm.
but he was, he mentioned briefly the CTE, and that's chronic traumatic encephalopathy, right? That's
Right,
that's
right.
from multiple concussions and things over the years because he played football from the time he was 9. And I
Hmm.
always tell people what you were in middle school, but they had you playing on the varsity football team,
Yeah, I played varsity
right?
in the 8th grade.
Because he was like six
Because he was
four
so
Yeah, I
or
was six
tall.
something,
three.
Yeah.
6'3" in the 8th grade. So he's been playing football all his life. And so when we met, he told me that he had, some signs and symptoms of CTE. And even though me being a nurse, that's the only thing I knew about CTE was that movie Concussion with
That
Will
movie
Smith in it,
Concussion.
right?
Right, right.
And maybe a little bit off of that. And I was like, okay, so when I really started researching it, I was like, wow, this is some serious stuff.
I'm not violent and physical, all that.
He always jumps in the face.
I
He's
have to
like,
get
I
that
am not
disclaimer.
violent.
I have to
Yeah,
get that
he said I gotta
disclaimer.
put that disclaimer
Yeah.
up there real
Yeah,
quick.
Yeah.
I ain't running through no doors and windows.
No, no,
Let me tell
no.
you, if you would violate, she would look. She would
Yeah,
look.
with
We
all
we
the
ain't
guns
dealing
I
with
don't
that.
even own a gun. All the guns she got, I would not be violent in this house.
Me? Little old me with weapons?
Oh man, we got an arsenal up in here.
Whatever.
One up under the toilet. No, I'm just
Oh man. That's a machete under the toilet. That's
oh
yours. He
man.
carries machetes. So between me, this man will whip out a machete like I'm like, wow, like that long. So yeah,
What?
we're always prepared for things. For some reason, you would think that we've both been well, we've been to war in life.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I guess we're
yeah,
always prepared for whatever's coming, but dealing with that and everything, and it's a blessing that he's transparent about it because so
yeah,
many people won't talk about it, and that's a whole other podcast to talk
yeah,
about that. But it is something that we're thankful for medicine and doctors and prayer and the support of our church and our pastor and our family and just being transparent with people about things because there's
yeah,
been times that we've had to back out of things, last minute because something comes up, with how he's feeling. And we may be ready to stab each other in the eye and be like, all right, we can't do this today. We're not going anywhere. Um,
yeah,
it's like that sometimes, but it's something that again we feel like I'm like, look, God knew what he was doing when he put us together, and he knew that
yeah.
Right.
I was the person to be with to
Right,
support him through this because
definitely.
you know what I'm saying. It's not something that the average person could deal with. And I hear so many stories, and I'm a part of support groups and stuff, and people that have separated from their spouse or their spouse has moved out because they just could no longer tolerate whatever. But I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, when God said sickness and health, he meant mental, physical, emotional sickness. He didn't mean always physical, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's going to be mental things and things that we have to deal with. So as long as he gives me the strength and every day is a new day, as we say, it's our motto. Every day is a new day. It's another chance. And even if
another chance to
yesterday
get it
was,
right.
that's it. We just got to keep on trucking along.
Yeah.
One day at
So
a time.
one day at a time.
Yeah,
That's
one
our
day at
motto.
a
One
time.
day at a time, sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus, yeah. That's
Yeah.
all I'm asking.
That's
That's
it.
it.
I mean, because let tomorrow be, today be sufficient for today, and let tomorrow deal with itself. And
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
we can't do anything about it. We
Right.
can't do anything about it. And but I'm glad you guys came on. Um, you have a wonderful story. Like I said, we follow you. You guys are hilarious.
Thank
Like
you.
all of Stacy's antics and everything. She has them doing, and she keep in
uh,
here. Jay, try this. And
oh,
I'm like, poor Jay. Like,
Yeah,
poor
that's everybody
Jay.
said poor Jay. I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with Jay. He's all right.
Suck it up, Jay. Just suck it up and eat it. Eat the cake, Jay. Eat the
Yeah,
cake.
That's right.
that's
That's
it. Eat the
right.
cake, Jay. That's exactly what it is. Eat the cake, Jay.
That's right.
And I do. I ain't gonna lie. She ain't got to shove it in my face. It's easy for
That's
me
You
to
right.
gonna
please.
eat the
I'm
cake.
like,
Yeah,
eat
Eat
it.
it.
just respect it and just do it. If
That's right.
I
Yeah.
get sick later.
Whatever. Shut up. You do not.
But he gonna eat it.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, Jay, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
If Stacy could go anywhere in the world other than over, overseas, where you're gonna take her to Europe, where would she go?
She would go to. Well, she would go to anywhere. You said anywhere in the world.
Yes,
She would go to Italy.
she would go to Italy.
Yep.
Mhm.
Why
Yep.
would she go to Italy? Why
she's
Italy?
always she's always talked about it, and she loves to cook and she loves Italian cuisine. So, and she's always talked about Italy
And wine.
and wine. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I love wine. So,
yeah,
and just wine and good food and
Yeah.
just, the idea of Tuscany and all of that.
yeah,
Yeah, I got a little wine cooler. I used to have a wine cooler in my bedroom.
What?
yeah. I don't drink, so that had to go. Now,
Yeah, whatever. I did because I felt like this is when before I met him because I was like I made my house my haven, right? I made it that every place in this home was like people come here and they're like your house is just so cozy and just so welcoming and calm. And I'm like, and that's what it should be, right? When you come in here,
Yeah.
I tell you you're a visitor one time. After that, you're on your own. Like,
Yes.
go cook, find what you wanted to eat, go in the refrigerator. I don't care. But if I cook, of course, you're welcome to it. But if I didn't, go find what you want. Find a
Go
snack,
find
get some
something.
food,
Yeah.
do whatever, right?
Oh, that's
But
nice.
I made it so that it was like my bedroom. I wanted it to feel like if I didn't feel like leaving my room that day, or if I just wanted to sit up in my bed and play on my iPad and watch movies and curl
And
up
just
in my
roll
bed,
over and grab your
roll over and
wine.
here's my glass of wine, right?
Let me grab
That
this.
was that was my
Let me
thing.
grab this wild Irish rose.
I wasn't no wild out whatever.
Let me grab
That
this.
mad dog
Oh
2020.
Some sham
man.
No,
pepper.
Sam Pipples.
Every
Some
time
sham
No,
you
pipple.
no, it was wine
I thought it was
and
sham pipple.
it wasn't no sham
Oh,
Pipple.
okay.
But yeah, so I just always I like coziness and I like conveniences and technology and just
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
a person could need is what we always like to have in my home. But yeah, I just Italy, I just just the authentic Italian cuisine. I want to do a cooking class over there. Like, like one of those cooking excursions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
brothers understand, pay attention to what your woman said, because a question just like that, most men will be like, so so I
Yeah,
always
they
try to
would.
pay I try to pay attention to her details, because this is the woman that, the love of my life, but this is somebody that I
Yeah.
know that I'm not gonna be without. Because she
Right.
told me last night, if we tried to get a divorce, she'd run me over with a car at high speed. So
I think I'd make it quick. Because I had told my pastor I would not divorce him. I'd probably smother him instead because it would be less red tape, right? I could just be like, I woke up, he was not breathing. That's it, right?
And
But
you
then he
already
said,
know. Yeah, yeah.
right.
Be
And then
like, look,
Jay was
I
like, would
already
you
checked
really
them,
smother
everything.
me if we got a divorce? I said, no. I said, I wouldn't do that, actually. I'd probably just hit you with a car. And I said, but I hit you. And he said, so then I'd be all broken up. I said, no, I'd hit you strategically and end it quickly. At least I'd have mercy. You know what I'm
And
saying? Like,
yeah,
I'm not going to make
yeah.
him
I'm not
suffer.
going right, yeah. I'm gonna just knock
That's it.
just run it over and just
Yeah.
like just
And I said, is that it? All you wanted to know? Any other questions? He's like, no, honey, that's all I wanted to know. I'm like, good. Next topic.
yeah.
so Stacy, you love to cook. You want to go to
Yes.
Italy and cook. So what would you cook for Jay? What would be Jay's favorite meal? What is his favorite meal?
Anything with shrimp in it.
Anything with
Mm.
shrimp.
Anything with shrimp in it. This man loves shrimp.
I'm from
So
South Carolina, man.
yes. So he loves like when I make, I make like pasta and I'll do like a homemade sauce, that I'll put on there and just some, and then spices and all of that and put some veggies in there. He loves fajitas, anything with shrimp.
Anything with some shrimp in it.
He loves to have. So he
Shrimp and
is
vegetables.
yeah, shrimp and veggies,
Oh,
peppers
okay.
and onions and all of that. He loves it. He wasn't a
Okay.
big steak eater when we met, and I love a big Like we go to a restaurant, he's having some kind of shrimp dish, and I'm the one with the big steak, and
With
they
the
always
big
come out and try
porterhouse.
to hand it to him, and I'm like, that is mine. Put it here, you know. But yeah, he loves anything with shrimp. But he loves being the benefactor of my many my many whims of things that I cook, because I cook pretty much everything, from
Yeah.
except dessert. I'm not a dessert person. I do not make dessert. They know that in this house. Like, he was used to growing up in the country having dessert. He'd be like, "Well, what's for dessert?"
Hmm.
I'm like, "I don't know. What you
Yeah.
make? What you buy?"
Yeah, you supposed to make
I'm
dessert
not
though.
doing that. Like, you can't have it all. You're gonna get all the rest of that. You want something sweet,
Jay,
you
you
better
gotta
figure
make the
that out.
dessert.
Exactly.
I
But the kids bring them dessert.
they
They
do.
bring
They
them
Oh,
sweets,
okay.
and they'll be like, "Mom, you want it?" I'm like, "Just give it to Jay.
they
Jay,
they offer to their
Mr. J,
mama
you want
first to
that?"
me, but like they know she ain't gonna eat it. They
Yeah,
just bring it
Yeah.
straight to me.
yeah, yeah. And they sneak
When
me
they really
stuff, and
bought it
he,
for you anyway.
yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah,
sneak me stuff all the time that I ain't
yeah,
supposed to have. They be
yeah.
like, "Pops, here you go."
And then he'll text them, and then they'll come in the house or something. I'm like, "What is that?" You know, as if he can't have it. He can eat what he wants. He doesn't have any health problems. But me, I'm the
Yeah.
one over there hating. Like, what is that?
Oh,
Don't
that's
give
why
that
you
to
said
him.
you're diabetic.
Mm.
Mm.
But I still eat what I'm not supposed to. I've never followed a diet like I'm supposed to. So,
So you're non-compliant.
yeah, I'm non-compliant. I mean, I got my little gummies right here, little candy right here.
Said you got no candy. Oh, okay, so what we do at the end, if you could give some advice, say for somebody who was in your situation, if you could give them some advice about marriage or getting married, what would you give them? What advice would
I'm
you say?
gonna let you answer that first.
I think from a male's perspective, I think it's a two-way street, and it shouldn't be a three-way street or a four-way street. You have to be totally committed to the person that you're married to. You can't venture off because you had a bad night and want to go hang with the boys, because that's how you get in trouble.
Right,
So
right.
I think that the biggest thing in a marriage is that being able to accept defeat as a man when you have an argument, and then you get to accept some victories as well. But at the end of the day, I think when you both come together, it should only be a two-way street and not a four-way intersection. So,
That's good.
What's the four-way intersection?
I mean, you got a side dude and I got a side chick.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, it's just
oh
me and
Lord.
you. You at that stop sign, I'm at this stop sign. We
All
meet in the
right,
And
middle,
that's
head on
it.
crash.
That's
all
it.
right.
So
No
okay,
four-way
Stacey, let's
intersections.
bring it from the female perspective.
Yeah, from the female, I always go back to someone feeling like your spouse is your best friend, right? Like your spouse should be the person that you can talk to about anything. It doesn't mean that you can talk to them anytime, right? Every time is not convenient, but there
Yeah.
shouldn't be a topic or thing that I don't feel like I can talk to my husband about, right? Um, it should be somebody, like I tell Jay, no matter how strong you are, no matter how independent a woman is,
Mm-hmm.
there are things we still need from a man that we need to feel.
I
We
tell
need
you
to feel
that.
protected, right? And like I
Yep.
told him, yeah, I feel like I can handle myself. I'm not afraid of people. I'm not afraid of getting into a physical altercation per se, right? But I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it's that kind of protection, but also protecting my heart, right? Protecting my reputation, protecting me from people who are, even from, like, being protective of himself is being protective of me, right? If he's
Yeah.
not letting females approach him and
Right.
he ha ha and being flirtatious because he's respecting me, that's protecting me, right? Because you're
Right.
protecting my
Definitely.
heart. Like, think of me as I think of you. So to marry someone who, when you feel like you're away from that person, is thinking of you and considering you just as if, because what did I tell you? I said, when I'm away from you, I will still function and behave and move as if you're right beside me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, I'm not going to behave in a different way because my husband's not around.
Right.
And a woman should not, a man should not behave in a different way because their wife is not around. If you're not normally looking at everything walking by, because eventually when people are like that, it starts to cross over, right? And then the
Yeah.
wife
Definitely.
realizes he's looking at everything that they can't control themselves anymore, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, think of me as I think of you, be my best friend, protect
That's
me.
good.
Sometimes I to finally be with a man who actually knows how to be a man, number one, which is something I never had before, a man who actually knows how to do stuff. Like I have a pink toolbox. I'm a fixer, I'm a builder. Like I can get in the dirt, I can plant and do gardens and landscaping and do stuff in the house. But to
Yeah,
have a man that can actually do some of that stuff and help me and will let me do it and not complain because I'm doing something or not feel like he's being left out or I didn't consult him. He's along with the things that I want to do. He supports me and he can help and he can do it. And there's things that he can do that I can't.
yeah.
And just to have somebody who is actually a man's man, kind of like he's a lot like my father.
I was going to
And
ask you that.
yeah, he is. And even my family has said, like my dad's cousins that we saw at a recent funeral were like, man, doesn't he remind you of Kenny? Like in his demeanor and all of that. And although he never got to meet my father, it's like sometimes I look over at him and I'll be like in the car and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I took a picture one time and sent it to my siblings. I said, tell me that don't look like dad, the way that hat's sitting on his head. And he got the same kind of hair my dad had
Yeah,
and just the demeanor. And I'm like, and then he's just well groomed and smells good. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
yeah.
like,
What more could you
somebody
ask
who
for,
cares
huh?
about themselves because I've been married to people who did not care about those things. And that you got
Yeah,
to teach things to. Like you shouldn't have to teach a man to be a man, and you
Man,
shouldn't
I
have
ain't
to
gonna
teach
be
a woman to
walking
be a
around
woman.
here stinking.
He's always saying that. I'm telling y'all, if he comes in from outside and I go to kiss him, and I go, ew, you smell like outside.
we're
He is going upstairs to take. I'm like, Jay,
going to
do
take a
not go
shower.
take a shower because I said you smell like outside just that quick. Like he will shower 2 times. It has never smelled bad in our entire relationship. He has
Wow.
never, and I am not lying. I've never been like, man, you stink. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
so it's just different things that reminds me about him because my father was like that. He was very well groomed, and I'm like I have fond memories of just seeing my father with his towel over his back, with his shower shoes on, walking down to the shower he had put into the basement to go down and take a shower, right? Just things like that. So,
yeah.
you got to marry somebody who nobody's perfect, but
No,
you have to be willing to make concessions for one another, right? There are some things you can make concessions on, but somebody who is not going to fundamentally want to change who you are. If they're
yeah,
trying to break you, if they're trying to mold you, they're trying to make you into something that you're not, that's not a person for you,
no. That's not the
right? Like
one.
I'm nobody's Barbie. I had someone one time like we gonna be like Michelle and Barack. I'm like, you don't look nothing like Barack, and I am not Michelle, and I am not like any. I'm like I am not like any other woman you've ever met or ever will meet, and I'm not trying to be like her, and I do not aspire. I went on this long diatribe, like how dare you say that I'm going to be like anybody other than
Right.
myself,
Other
right?
than, yeah,
When you
right.
have somebody trying to break your spirit and try to break who you are and feel like they can come in control and change you, when you meet somebody who does not try to control you and does not try to change you and is not threatened by you,
Yeah,
that's something.
yes.
When you haven't had that in a relationship before, and we can both say we have that because I push him, I support him. If I say tomorrow I want to go back to doing what I used to do and traveling and covering 7 states in the Southeast and travel all the time, honey,
Mm,
do it. He's the one saying, why not? Why don't you want to do it?
right,
Well,
that's
you used to
true.
love it. And then I have to give him all the reasons why I don't want to do
But
it. Right?
I just said it just to see what you would say. Yeah.
Exactly. Or he's trying to get rid of me. He's like, please go back and start traveling again. Please leave.
Nah,
Get on
Jay
a
would
plane,
never.
Stacy.
Jay would never. He would never say that. But
Yeah.
Nah.
again, thank you guys for coming on.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, getting
Thank
a
you for
little
having us.
insight in Hagoods. I'm saying that right,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, most people say
yeah.
hack. What they say?
Or the one time they said Hagood.
Yeah,
I
hey,
was like,
good.
oh,
Yeah,
now we're Muslim.
yeah. Now we
Now
French.
now I need to put my burqa
Yeah,
on.
now we from France.
I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
let everybody else get a little insight that doesn't, because we do have a little insight from
Yeah.
um watching the videos and from the mayors to the um honeymoon and on. I always
Yeah.
tell babe, oh babe, look, you gotta come watch this. Oh, look at this. Oh my God, they're hilarious. Look at Steve. Look what she got them doing now.
Yeah. She said, "Hey, come here, look at this, look at this, look at this."
I would just tell her, I said, they got to get their own show. They got to.
Oh gosh, we've been told that so
Yeah,
many times, but it's just like,
definitely.
I'm like, I'm not like I'm better impromptu,
And
than
this is exactly what this is, impromptu.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
because a lot of people do ask things like, oh, so what's the topic? Whatever the topic ends up being.
exactly. So what
Yeah,
are
like
you guys with your 30th anniversary coming up? What is your what pearls of wisdom do you have to share?
you got any pearls?
Communication.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is the key. Definitely key.
Yeah,
Because
we didn't communicate a lot at first.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
well,
Um,
she ain't like me at first. She ain't like me at all. There's still some days she don't like me.
Hey, it's like
Yeah,
that
she.
sometimes.
look, and I told him, I said, I always love you. I will
It
always love you. There's sometimes I don't like you.
right,
There's sometimes I don't like some of the things that he does and acts or whatever, but I always love him.
right,
But and vice versa. There's things that he doesn't like that I do and say, and but that doesn't mean we don't like each other or respect. I mean, love each other or respect each other. Just
right.
at the moment, we don't like each other. But I would say communication definitely is huge.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always agree. We don't like a lot of the same things. When you talk about country, Luther is more country. He likes um,
All
when
right,
it comes to
look.
our taste in when it comes to our taste in music,
Mm-hmm.
that even varies. But we still, you know, make it work.
Right.
Sometimes you just make it work. It's not that important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we like our kids or our grandkids will say that we argue all the time. We don't argue. we just It's just how we discuss things, and then after a while, we good. Like as long as he sees it my way,
Yeah,
everything is good.
then you're good. As long as he realizes that he's wrong.
How about that? Like, dude, that's like,
So
yeah,
easy.
Jay, I like you. Gotta keep the peace, man. I gotta keep the peace.
That's
Sometimes I
it.
just take that.
Hey, that's it, baby.
he'll take the L. He'll
Yeah,
just take
yeah,
the
right
L.
on, brother. That's what I do, man. Right on.
You know,
Take the
you
L.
gotta
You.
choose your battles, man. Sometimes you
And
gotta.
I wait till I'm absolutely right.
Till you know that you know.
Oh, I know, but I got proof and everything. Here
Oh
we go.
boy. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Then after that, we'll concede a little bit. I mean, if you got all that proof
Exactly.
and
A
everything,
little
we'd be
bit, about
like,
that
all
much.
right.
About
We'd
that
be like,
much.
all right, but
All right.
we're gonna find something in there that to let you know we were still right. But
Exactly.
yeah, and I think definitely, our relationship, um, individually with God.
Mm-hmm.
I told him a minute there, and our first podcast was about our first year of marriage. I wanted to get a divorce. I'm done. I'm out of here. Nobody told me
Mm-hmm.
it was gonna be like this. Um, but throughout the years, because of my relationship and having wise counsel, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
my relationship with God, and also my mom, like, I don't know where you're gonna go. You ain't coming over here. Stay home and work on your marriage.
Yep.
Luther's a good guy. She said, Lord, you have your faults, and so does he.
Mm-hmm.
And we do. A lot of times we want to act as if I don't have any faults. There's nothing wrong with me. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I usually try to put it on him. But I got a
Yeah.
few. I got a few here and there. Not
Every now and
much.
then we have that little
Yeah,
thing that's
every
wrong
now and
about
then
us, Lori.
every now and then it'll pop up.
It's a little thing sometimes we just need to work on, but it's not that serious that it should,
No, it ain't really that serious. Not
no,
like theirs.
their
Not
faults are
like
so
theirs.
much more glaring
What
than
are you
ours.
saying,
And
girl? Just bam, like right there.
I mean,
But
so we have to help them, and that's what we're here
yeah,
for, right?
that's what
And
we're here. We're the
you
helpmates.
know,
So
yeah, yeah.
and I try to tell him that all the time. The word says that he that findeth a wife
Find this
findeth
a
a
good
good
thing,
thing
good thing.
and finds favor with the Lord.
That's
So
right.
because of me, you have
Yep.
favor with the Lord. You got
Mm-hmm.
favor.
That's
If it
right.
wasn't for me,
That's
like
right. And favor ain't fair. It's just not. So it's not fair
Yeah,
that we're always
and it's
right.
not
Can't
fair.
help that. Can't help
We
that.
can't help it.
Can't
We
help
can't
that.
help it. But yeah, over
No.
the 30 years, yeah, it's been some ups and downs, a lot of
Mhm.
trials, and
Yep.
but we made it. By the
Yeah.
grace of God, we made it. Because sometimes you can't sweat the small stuff.
Right.
Luther is one thing he knows that he's always going to know how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm always going to tell him. I don't
Yeah.
like how you said that to me. That made me feel you didn't acknowledge. Da da da. I'm always going to tell him, so he can
Yeah.
never say, "Well, baby, I don't know." Yeah, yeah, you do. Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
And that's
So
good because a lot of women won't, like, we expect them to read our mind, and they're not going to read our mind. We're two individual people. Like, we're two
right,
people coming together. And it's like, no matter how long you've been together, it's like you may think you can read one another's mind. And we can read our body language, whatever, but we can't always just
no,
assume that and then get an attitude because they don't know what we're thinking.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will always know, and um that's where the title come from. You,
Hmm.
me, and we.
Yeah.
Um, because it takes that and it's that we part that's hard sometimes,
Hmm.
walking together because you still come in a relationship an individual, as
Hmm.
you should, because you should know there's still things that I like to do that I want that are my things, and
Hmm.
vice versa.
Right.
I don't want to take it away from him, nor is he going to take it away from me.
Hmm.
But when it's time for us to come together, we come together. We have 3 children, 6 grandchildren, and one on the way.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we
Thank
have
you.
so, and then when the kids are gone and when they left, not that we don't see them all the time, but when they were out of the house, then it was like it's just me and you. We all we got.
Mhm.
Yeah, that even
So we got to make it
drew
work.
us closer.
Yeah, it did.
It
It
drew us
do.
closer
Yeah.
after they left, and then that really drew us closer. Then um, when Ashley left too, when Ashley left, or Channing was there.
Yeah. When Channing was in, once Channing left, went to college, he came home one summer to work, and then he met his girlfriend, and they got pregnant in college, got married, and now they're working on their third child. Been married
Yeah.
4 years, I think, almost 4 years.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, so yeah. But like I said, they have their lives. When your kids are
Yeah.
gone, they have their own lives. Oh,
Hmm.
she scared you. Um, then what do we have left? A lot of marriages they dissolve after that. Their
Yep.
lives are wrapped up in their children, and
Yep.
then they kind of look at each other like,
Like, who are you?
yeah, okay, now it's us. I don't think I like this. I'm going after 20 some years. They
Yeah.
separate. Man, look, you ain't going nowhere now after all of this. No, we in this. We're not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
And I
Nowhere.
think that's key what you said because I think that's a difference for us because we came together later in life, right? We don't have
Hmm.
any children together. Um, people are like, "Oh, you guys are empty nesters now," because my girls were here when he came. But I had been a single parent at times in my life. I'd been married at times in my life. And it was just like, for us, it wasn't like this big, like, oh my gosh, the kids are gone now. What are we going to do with ourselves? Right. Because we were
Yeah,
already at that, we're already at that stage in life where our careers are set. We've done all this stuff. And so we didn't have that like total culture shock
yeah,
that, a couple like you that have been together for 30 years, like you said, so many people put, and I can see how you can put a lot of focus and time and energy into your kids because I did that, right? And I
yeah,
think I remember in my second marriage, one thing that I said as it was falling apart was that I don't see myself sitting on the porch with you in a rocking chair sipping on sweet tea after the kids are gone.
wow,
Like I don't see us. Like nothing in my mind saw us together when there was only going to be us because I knew that he did not that he wasn't
he
that person that was
he
going to be
wasn't the
there to
one.
support me,
Yeah,
right? Through sickness and health. I was like that. I just don't see us sipping sweet tea together on the front porch. I just don't see it. Like, and so it's something to say when a couple, and yeah, no, marriage is not perfect. There's nobody,
No, not at all.
people, even people want to hear our story. Like trust me, you come in here some days, you're gonna be like duck and like stop, drop, and roll right back out the front door and hope you don't get hit with something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and so it's like, but that's life, right? It's
But
two
that's life.
individuals coming
Right,
together, and we
right.
are both who we are, and especially when we've given each other the freedom to be who we are, and we're not trying to mold and shape, and I'm not trying to build a bear, right? I'm not trying to build a man. He's not trying to build a woman. And
Yeah,
so we are already who we are. And so we have to work through those challenges that come with life as we grow.
yeah. And they're
So,
coming.
yep.
And they're gonna come. And the older we get, of course, we've changed. There's
Hmm.
changes that even as women go through.
Yep.
And thank God I ain't at 55, they say I still ain't hit menopause. Like,
Oh, really?
I
Wow.
mean, as far as I don't have the symptoms, thank God, no hot
Yes.
flashes, no none of that,
Yes. Yeah.
So I
That's
think
good. Yeah.
Luther's good with that. Every now and then I'll see like attitude change. And
Hmm.
I'm like, ooh, where did
Like,
that
where'd
come
that come
from?
from?
Yeah, yeah, that was a rough one. But
Yeah.
and Luther always seems to be the brunt of it because he's here. And,
Yeah.
we've worked together. We're together all the time. Like we
Yes.
work together. Like we just what we do now. And
Hmm.
I think it's good. There was years ago, like he could be on vacation for a whole week,
Hmm.
and I'm like, dude, you got to find something to do. You need space. Like this is not working.
Yeah.
Um, you throwing me off my routine. But now it's,
Hmm.
About a
Yeah.
minute ago, I was ready to go back to
and I
work.
was ready for him to go back.
Yeah.
And I was ready. But now it's yeah, now it's like we like and love each other again.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
so
that's
we
a
got some
transition I've
changes.
heard people
Yeah,
talk about. Like, people like, I don't know how you can work together. I don't know how you can be together all day. And so that you guys went from not having that to having that, and
yeah,
still
yeah,
like thrived and found a way to like coexist is awesome. Because for me, it
yeah,
was,
yeah. We
I had a job that traveled, for like 7 years. I was traveling, sometimes three in 3 states in one week, and I did that even when I was like a single
wow.
parent running the house, right? And the kids they knew how to write checks. They knew whatever, where the checks are. You need something,
Writing
write
check.
that check, right? They knew how to take care of the house.
Yeah, because you raised them that
And
they had to. Yeah,
yeah, it was like they knew how to cook, clean. They knew what this house better look like when I come back in it, right?
right.
And then when to have it like that, and then when the pandemic hit and and I wasn't traveling anymore, and then I ended up taking a job that wasn't travel based. It was like a transition, because even
Yeah,
now, I've never been around somebody as much as I am, Jay. And there's nobody in my past that I could have been around as much as him without wanting to literally kill somebody. Like, it wouldn't have
yeah.
worked in any other relationship that I've been in. So it's a blessing when you actually want to be around your spouse, right? And you actually enjoy it, and it's a part of life, and it's not like a burden or a
Yeah.
struggle. And I'm not like, and he knows sometimes if I just want to run to the store, very rarely I might want to leave and don't want him to come with me. It's okay.
Oh
Or I'll
yeah,
just
every
say,
now and
hey,
then,
why don't
yeah,
you go do
definitely.
blah, 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 so that he can get out. Listen to him. Sound like a person. He's like, why don't you go on and
Oh,
get out of here?
I know our granddaughter has come to the door.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're gonna
Yeah.
end it, guys. But
All right.
it's so cool. Like, but you definitely gonna have to come back on, and maybe we can talk about CTE.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that would be,
yeah, yeah, definitely,
yeah.
we'll do that.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you guys having us. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And thanks for sharing and being part of the journey along the way and
Oh
watching our
man,
craziness,
shoot. Oh
you
yeah, we
know.
loved it. Like I said, we loved it. I'm like, oh Lord, what they doing now? And then like I said, when I saw you guys here in town, I'm like, oh my gosh, they got to come
Yeah.
on. They got to come
Yeah.
on. So definitely
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah.
Next
We'll
time you
let you
guys
know when we
come.
come back.
Yeah,
Definitely will. Well,
yeah.
God
I
bless you
think.
guys, and
Oh,
thank you
you as
again. And
well. You as well.
yeah, it was enjoyable.
It
Yeah, you
was.
guys take care, and we will see you next time. And I'm glad like you are participating too in the podcast
Yeah.
page, like on our page.
Yep.
Like if
Yep.
anything y'all want to post or put up, I tell people post some stuff, put some things in there. Don't just wait for us to put things in there. Post some stuff in there about
Oh, okay.
marriage and whatever. Yeah, put some things in there.
All right.
Yeah,
Sounds
we gotta
good.
give him. We gotta get him a gift.
Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, because we usually get or those who come on, we give them a gift, like a little coffee mug or a T-shirt or something. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, you have to text me your address and I'll send you out something.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one, and hey, we'll see you on the book.
All
All
right.
right.
Sounds
All
good.
right,
See
all
you
right.
guys.
See y'all later.
Hey,
Okay.
bye
All right,
bye.
bye
Bye-bye.
bye. All right, let's see if we can. Let me see if we're still live. Yeah. And